We've got a lot to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, to start with, we have this great UFO video shared by Wixie. Thank you, Wixie. This was taken by a passenger out of a plane over Slovakia. Look at this awesome capture of this, what I think is a genuinely anomalous object performing crazy anomalous maneuvers. Yeah, way too high to be a drone or a bird or a bug or anything like that. And it doesn't move like one anyway. I think this is a fantastic capture. But let me know what you guys think. Yeah, is this a dragon? I mean, dragon UFOs buzz aerial vehicles, but you know they don't typically hang around and party with them. But hey, maybe they do. Maybe they do. So let me know what you think about that really cool UFO video. And by the way, of course, I have seen part 2 of Matthew Brown's interview on Weaponized, and I will be making a full video on that and his information in a little while, unless there's some breaking news that I have to cover. But yeah, look for that very soon. Meanwhile, we have a new whistleblower or a new witness or participant in Skywatcher, sharing his own insight and experience and observations and data. And his name is James Fowler. This was on the Chris Cuomo show, and Jake Barber was also there, and just a fantastic interview. I recommend watching the full thing. Some really good stuff in there. But here is James introducing himself and his information.
James Fowler is my name. I was in the military for a long time, spent most of my time in SOCOM, retired in 2020 as a sergeant major. Really got after a lot of different things, deployed to a lot of crazy places, but I never did anything with UAPs or anything on this topic whatsoever in my military career. That actually separates me a little bit from Jake and other folks that you may speak with, in that all of my information has been gleaned and learned and understood as a civilian, as a contractor to the government, or on my own, without any government interaction whatsoever. So in 2021, I was running a war game for the U.S. government. And at that war game, I had tens of millions of dollars of defensive equipment and tens of millions of dollars of offensive equipment. That equipment included government and commercial classified, unclassified systems. And we were arrayed in a force-on-force war game for 2 weeks at a time to a month at a time. So during the course of that initial war game in 21, we had some sightings of some anomalies. We were convinced that perhaps those anomalies were related to the IC, the intelligence community, or the government. So we treated it as such. We were very careful with that information. We kept it very quiet, which is why you've never heard from me before and never seen this before. Between 21 and 22, we decided, what if, actually we thought to ourselves, what if this isn't a U.S. government capability? What if this is an adversary or an other capability? So between 2021 and 2022, we did a lot of open source research, a lot of analysis, introspectively thinking through what did we do in 21 to bring this attention to us? And can we replicate it in 22? And can we enhance the attraction that we get in 2022? And the answer was yes. So in 2022, we ran another war game. We've run one every year, more than one sometimes. And in 22, we had much more exotic display of technology from whoever's flying and operating these craft. In 21, we only had 7 that we saw in one sortie or one formation. In 22, we saw over 250 UAPs.
Anyway, he goes on and he talks about his work with Skywatcher and the dog whistle and how they have a 100% success rate with the dog whistle. A fascinating interview. He also gives some insight into how they're going to monetize Skywatcher, because that had been my question. We had heard that this was a for-profit endeavor, and it was unclear to me how they were going to make a profit off of this, but it looks like they are developing technologies from all of this that has to do with air defense. So, yes, I'm glad I've got that question answered. Seems reasonable, I guess, to extrapolate technologies from UAP sightings and incidents. Talks about the classifications of UFOs. And so I encourage you to go watch the full thing at your leisure. Great stuff, great stuff. Meanwhile, Michael Herrera is suggesting that we have some sort of a fund to help whistleblowers that are coming out of the shadow of the government to pay their bills. Because one of the main problems with being a whistleblower, one of the main problems they may face is, of course, losing their job after coming forward with this information.
I will say this too. I see a lot of people raising funds for whistleblowers. Why don't you guys raise funds for people who are going to lose their jobs, that can't work in that anymore? They need a transition period in between finding work, right? So how about starting a fund that allows unemployment, quote unquote, to exist for people who want to come onto the right side of history? Or some sort of fund to help them, at least if they don't have a job, at least give them money so that way they can get to a safe place, and that way they can be comfortable with their story. And the other thing I want to say to the public is, guys,
Yeah. So great stuff. Mike had a great, speech that he gave. I don't want to call it a rant, but but sometimes ranting is appropriate. And so a great idea about how to protect whistleblowers, not from retribution from the control group, but simply how to pay their bills. So I thought that was a fantastic idea. Meanwhile, this is a really interesting situation, or a really interesting video from supposedly declassified KGB files. Now, this is from a documentary, I think a made-for-TV documentary that came out some years ago. And Roger Moore is our host for this, and it goes over this really amazing interaction with a UFO. There was an interception of a UFO, more specifically, that seemed to be doing some really interesting stuff. And this video cuts to the chase. Okay, I've got to mute it because there's music playing. But you can see this plane, this jet. They call it an American plane. This is declassified Russian footage, but they refer to this as an American plane. But yeah, you see this object right there descending. Again, is that a dragon? What are we looking at here? Is it just a regular UFO? Or is it surveilling or performing dragon-like activities of this jet? It descends there, but it gets even more interesting. Check this out.
Air Force footage was obtained.
Yeah, you'll see this object here. In a minute, you'll see two objects that merge and become one. Wait for it. This is the interception. This is when the jets intercept. So there are two separate videos. Look at that. Look at that. You got these two UFOs that then join together. Just fantastic footage. Love it. Can't believe I'd never seen this before. Yeah, thank you, Wixie, again for sharing this fantastic footage. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at biolocation or bilocation? Multiple people have talked about this. This came up recently at the UAP congressional panel. This is Dr. Anna Brady Estevez, a National Science Foundation scientist. And she talks about bilocation, but she also goes into other stuff about how the technological world can't really afford not to look into UAP. She even compares this to ignoring fire. So let's give a listen.
There are elements of this that are relevant to quantum and quantum entanglement. So what does that mean for our national posture on quantum? AI is interwoven with this.
Yeah, she says quantum entanglement, and I guess that's what I was thinking of, not necessarily bilocation specifically, although that may be part of it, but actual quantum entanglement. Could that explain bilocation and why some UFOs will merge or come apart, as we have seen in multiple videos? Really fascinating. I would love to understand how all that works. Of course, when we have a situation like the Bugosphere that came out, this seems to possibly change mass, which is really interesting. And it does that supposedly, I guess, without bilocating or quantum entanglement. Although, who knows, maybe that's how it does it. But anyway, let's go on with what she has to say.
You talk about microgravity and advanced materials. So do we just not do certain layering or advancement of certain materials because they've been found in crash retrieval? We're not able to walk back because this is so interwoven. So saying that UAP is off limits, that's like saying, let's go home. Let's, maybe, can we still use fire? Maybe, let's look into it. Can you still use rocks? So many of the fields of technology would be off limits. So honestly, we don't know how to this idea, once you're in that, you don't even know. It's like saying stop using math. So
yeah, once you are aware of UAP technology, not to use it, not to reverse engineer it or study it, would be akin to not using math or fire. I think that's a profound statement and very accurate. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. And of course, that would, suggest that the people who are aware of UFO crashes and who have been doing crash retrievals for many years have probably had that idea before, right? Maybe we should look into this. They've probably been doing that for a long time, and they probably had some success with that. Meanwhile, some people are saying that some comments by President Trump might indicate UFO disclosure is right around the corner. So I'll read you the comments. Before then, Trump says, talking about events in the Middle East and announcements involving that. I'm not going to get into all that, but he says, before then, we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make. Like as big as it gets. And that's where people think it must have to do with UFOs, because what could be bigger, right? And I won't tell you what he says, but it's very positive. And also, I'll tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that up. It is really, really positive. And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. But it will be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject, a very important subject. We're going to have a great announcement. And I'm not necessarily saying it's on trade going to the beginning, because they had been talking about trade. We're going to have a great announcement over the next few days, announcement that will be so incredible, so positive. And I'm not saying I don't want you to think it's necessarily on trade just to finish. Okay, well, you can't accuse him of not hyping something up. I love it. But yeah, so some people are saying, well, this is a UFO disclosure. He's going to come out with this. Now, I would be shocked if this had anything to do with UFO disclosure. I'm hoping this has to do with ending the war in Ukraine. But, we'll see what exactly he means by all of this. So we have fingers crossed for something very positive. He certainly seems to think it's very positive. But could it have something to do with UFOs? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, we have a great contact shared by Peter Maxwell Slattery. I love Pete. He's been on the channel. He's a fantastic experiencer and has a lot of insight into the phenomenon and contact with the phenomenon. Well, here he is. He says, NHI communication at ground level. From the Meditation, Yoga, and Skywatch Hangout on the 26th of April at Jaya Sanctuary in Victoria, Australia. And of course, Skywatcher is his property in Australia, where they do CE5s and have fantastic contact. And so they're using this paranormal, this ghost hunting device, an LED cat ball light. It's triggered by motion and is used for paranormal investigations. It was inserted into the stone circle portal at Jaya Sanctuary. This is what happened during the event. All right. Yeah, I used to do ghost hunting. We never used the cat ball light, but maybe we should have.
Nothing's in there. Yeah, that's cool.
32.
Oh, 31.
31
Wow.
and
Wow.
32, 31, 30.
So the Geiger counter's on 0.30, now it's 0.29.
Yep.
So if you can manipulate that ball right now, it shows a sign that you're here to make peaceful contact. Can you please do what you just did with that ball then? If you're able to, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Did you feel that wind?
Yeah.
Seriously? seriously, that was crazy.
Are you on the property right now in a craft? There, I got it.
Wow, that is so cool. So yeah, they were using this cat light to invite the beings to interact with them, and they did, and they did. And then they said, "Well, are you in a craft?" Inviting them to show themselves, and they showed themselves. And then they did an overlay showing where this is on the property, and yep, there it is on the property. That's where it would be on the property. And but they were seeing it at night. This light over there. Just an amazing interaction. Thank you so much for sharing this, Peter, and an inspiration to those people like me that do see E5 from time to time. Maybe something to try to get some sort of intelligent interaction with the phenomenon. They were asking questions and it was responding intelligently. So pretty damn cool. Let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, this has nothing to do with UFOs, but I thought this was hilarious. This is shared by the Feigen pranking the Google Maps car. Okay, all right. So these guys are on the street pretending like they're killing each other while the Google Maps car is driving past. And fast forwarding a little bit. This is what the Google Maps is now showing. Getting closer to this violent, confrontation, showing this attempted murder. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. You go, guys. Meanwhile, people are still trying to understand the Bugosphere, now being studied by Jaime Maussan and his team. I think this is just a super fascinating, piece of technology, whatever it is. But Feminist Love Letter has done some good research on it. And she says, the Bugosphere X-rays are wild. It's a solid piece with a nucleus of less density with 18 microspheres. It shows no signs of welding. The external dots appear to be created from the inside, not outside. The external symbols aren't visible on an X-ray. And those are the dots she's talking about. Fascinating stuff. What is this thing, guys? What is the Bugosphere? And if you if you forgot what we're talking about, it's this UFO, this orb spherical UFO that fell out of the sky and was captured or taken by some humans, and now is being studied by scientists. Now they talk about how they need more funding for the research that is being done on it. So hopefully they will get that funding. Hopefully Jaime Maussan can direct some funds into the study of this really intriguing object. Because we definitely need some answers on that. Feminist Love Letter also says, I did a simulation of electromagnetic behavior based on the microspheres at the nucleus of the Bugosphere. The central symmetry suggests intentional engineering. Equal spacing implies resonance or an inertial balance. Notice the torus. So yeah, great work. I love it. What is this thing? I'm very intrigued by the artwork on the outside of it. Never seen that in any NHI stuff before. It makes me think this is probably man-made, but very likely with some anomalous technology of some sort, which is super intriguing. Did they stumble upon an ARV or something like that? Some sort of man-made craft? Reverse engineered technology, or who the hell knows? Atlantean technology. What is that thing, guys? What is that thing? And it's apparently inducing health effects, unfortunately, in the owner, the person that originally found it. And I've gone over that before. Here's a stabilized version of the video. I think this is on the day that it was found. So, I love all this stuff. I mean, we've got a UFO, a potential UFO, in the hands of scientists right now, being studied. Can't wait to see what they find. I do lean more toward a man-made structure, but an anomalous man-made structure. Clearly it doesn't seem to be a drone. There's no visible means of propulsion. So unlikely to be a simple hoax like that, I don't think. But let me know what you think. I mean, is it alien? What is this thing? Will it all turn out to be a giant hoax? But again, it's being studied right now, and they can't open it. They can X-ray it, but there's no welding on display. There's no visible means of propulsion. So what the heck is that thing? Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Yeah, is this bird walking on water? Let me know what you think this bird is doing. Yeah, it took me longer than it probably should have to figure this out, but maybe you got it quicker than I did. Like and subscribe, buy a t-shirt, become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.